Hello everyone, welcome to the Environment and Ecology Current Affairs classes. Today we will discuss about the topics on earthquake and tsunamis, because recently Japan was hit by a high magnitude of earthquake which triggered the tsunami warnings. We will see how UPSC can ask question both in prelims as well as mains. Thereafter we will discuss in detail about air pollution in northern India as well as the issue of vehicular emission and BS6 standards. ठीक है. Thereafter we will discuss about the offshore mining, है ना, which was given recently in 2024 Act. Thereafter we will discuss about the species conservation, the case of Western tragopan, where in Himachal Pradesh it was bred in captivity. इसके बारे में देखेंगे. This will help in framing a case study for you. Thereafter, recently there was fire in Goa as well as in Mumbai, है ना. तो we will discuss about the urban fires, a fire hazard, है ना, how we need to deal with the fire disasters. Moving forward, coming to the first topic, that is earthquakes and tsunamis. Here the thing is, Japan faces earthquake regularly, है ना, यहाँ पे, because the main cause is it sits on the convergent boundaries or Pacific Ring of Fire, where the ocean plates, Pacific Ocean Plate and Asian Plate, Philippine Plate, Nazca Plate, South American and North American plates are converging towards each other. That makes high magnitude of earthquakes, है ना. Now, not all earthquakes are cause for tsunamis. Few earthquakes lead to formation of tsunami waves. अब ये tsunami waves होते क्या हैं? These are long wave, है ना, sea waves, which have very long wavelength and travel at a very high speed in the seas, and these are triggered by the earthquakes, landslides, or volcanic eruptions within the ocean or sea. ठीक है. इसमें not all, why not all earthquakes are responsible for formation of tsunamis? Because here for the formation of tsunami a key type of movement is required, that is primarily caused by the vertical displacement of sea floor. ठीक है. It is the tsunamis are formed by the vertical displacement of sea floor. Here you can see in the convergent boundary, है ना, there is basically वर्टिकल मूवमेंट ऑफ सी फ्लोर. उसके वजह से वर्टिकल मूवमेंट मतलब अप एंड डाउन, अगर से वर्टिकल मूवमेंट होता है प्लेट्स का, तो दैट कॉजेस द सुनामी वेव्स, एंड दिस सुनामी वेव्स आर इकोलॉजिकल डिजास्टर्स, काइंड ऑफ इकोलॉजिकल डिजास्टर्स. इंडिया में ये 2004 में आया था पहली बार, ठीक है, या इन रिसेंट टाइम्स इट वाज इन 2004 which caused huge destructions. ठीक है. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल इट causes physical destruction of coral reefs, mangrove forest, and it causes salinization of coastal groundwater affecting agriculture as well as freshwater resources. Now the natural way of preventing or prevention from these hazards is by planting mangroves, because they act as a bioshields for protecting the coastal areas. ठीक है. मैंग्रोव्स को बायोशील्ड्स भी बोलते हैं इसमें. तो दिस इज अबाउट द कॉन्सेप्ट्स. नाउ यूपीएससी कैन आस्क क्वेश्चन बोथ ऑन मेंस एज वेल एज प्रीलिम्स. ठीक है. हियर द ट्रैप कैन बी सुनामी स्पीड इज हाईएस्ट इन द डीप ओशंस. ठीक है. डीप ओशन में इसकी स्पीड, द स्पीड बाय विच इट ट्रेवल्स इज हाईएस्ट इन द डीप ओशंस, एंड एज इट रीचेस टू द coast the speed decreases, and that lead to the new process, that is a new concept called wave shoaling, है ना, जहाँ पे where the waves come near the coast and they rises, the waves rise and their speed decreases. This is known as shoaling. ठीक है. इस प्रोसेस को हम क्या बोलते हैं? shoaling बोलते हैं. तो this is all about the tsunamis and the disaster that lead to them. Thereafter we will discuss about the hot topic currently in India, that is Delhi's air pollution. Now this is not only Delhi's air pollution, but now total NCR region is affected by this pollution crisis. ठीक है. all of the north central region of northern plains of India is affected by severe pollution crisis. Now what are the reasons? ठीक है, there are natural as well as anthropogenic reasons for the pollution in northern belt of India. The natural causes are temperature inversion. ठीक है, natural causes are temperature inversion. And temperature inversion क्या होता है? Basically the cold air is trapped by the warm air above it, है ना, and the cold air cannot escape. ठीक है, ये इसको हम बोलते हैं टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन. अगर से यहाँ पे पोल्यूटेंट्स इसमें जमा हो जाते हैं तो पोल्यूटेंट्स विल रिमेन नियर द सरफेस, देन अगेन accentuating the pollution problem within the region. Thereafter, the other cause is low wind speeds because of winters में in general high pressure zones, है ना, high pressure होने की वजह से there are the speed of winds is very low. That will prevent the dispersal of pollutants. It will prevent the dispersal of pollutants. Thereafter, biomass burning, ये बहुत होता है, जैसे कि for example both for heating as well as stubble burning. ठीक है, stubble burning और agricultural residue burning. इसके वजह से pollutants are created and they are not able to disperse because of low wind speed, है ना, and temperature inversion. This is the causes and sources of pollution in the Delhi NCR region. Now how can this problem be solved? ठीक है, ये इसके पीछे हम since decade कंटिन्यूसली इसके ऊपर एफर्ट्स ले रहे हैं. रिसेंटली सेंट्रल एयर क्वालिटी मैनेजमेंट बोर्ड वाज क्रिएटेड टू डील विद द पोल्यूशन इन नॉर्दर्न प्लेन्स ऑफ इंडिया, है ना. उसके रिलेटेड भी रिसेंटली हाई कोर्ट में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में देयर वाज ए पिटिशन, है ना, कि ओल्ड व्हीकल्स को स्क्रैप किया जाए. ठीक है, उसके रिलेटेड भी हम इसमें देखेंगे. नाउ वी कैन नॉट सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम डीलिंग इट इन सिटीज. एक स्पेसिफिक सिटी में हम इसको डील नहीं सकते हैं, कर नहीं सकते हैं. नाउ वी हैव टू डील दिस विथ द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एयरशेड. आपने वाटर शेड सुना होगा. ठीक है, वाटर शेड इज द रीजन वेयर द वाटर ऑफ दैट रीजन फ्लोज इनटू ए कॉमन आउटलेट. ठीक है, उसी तरह से एयरशेड भी होता है. नाउ एक स्पेसिफिक सिटीज पे हम फोकस नहीं कर सकते हैं. दिल्ली कर लिए, नोएडा कर लिए, गुड़गांव, ठीक है, अलवर, इस साइड में नहीं कर सकते हैं. वी हैव टू सी दिस रीजन, होल रीजन एज ए वन यूनिट. तभी इस प्रॉब्लम को हम सस्टेनेबल वे में सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. अदरवाइज द प्रॉब्लम विल परसिस्ट बिकॉज, है ना, बिकॉज पोल्यूशन डो नॉट सी एनी बॉर्डर्स. इट ऑल्सो कम फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इंडिया. ठीक है, इस पाकिस्तान में जो प्लेन एरिया है वहाँ पे भी बर्निंग की वजह से हमारे पास यहाँ पे पोल्यूशन होता है. तो वी नीड ए ब्रॉड एयरशेड अप्रोच टू डील विद दिस प्रॉब्लम, है ना. Recently, CAQM has asked for banning of old vehicles. ठीक है, now this raises the question of environmental justice. There are two dilemmas: the case of environment protection as well as the environment justice. Now this is dilemma. ठीक है, क्यों? Yes, older vehicles are the main cause or major cause disproportionately to pollution, है ना. India leapfrog from BS4. Now we have this BS6 since 2020. BS6 में there is 80% less SO2 and 70% less nitrous oxide release from this BS6 vehicles, है ना. जो अब old vehicles हैं उसको scrap करना चाहिए. This is because of to protect environment or to have clean air. Now it raises this environment question by, now who owns these old vehicles? This is owned by low income individuals. Now that they will face the new challenge, है ना. They cannot afford new vehicles or they cannot have that luxury to give away the old vehicles. That creates the dilemma. Now that is why we need to we need to deal with this in a sustainable way. ठीक है. Thereafter, moving forward to the new topic, that is the offshore mining. Recently, India granted the permissions for offshore mining block. Now, what is this offshore mining? The question arises, what is this offshore mining? The extraction of mineral like sand, lime, mud and polymetallic nodules from sea floor. ठीक है, from sea floor, not from the coastal areas but within the sea में अंदर जाके माइनिंग करने को हम बोलते हैं ऑफशोर माइनिंग, ठीक है. इंडिया उसको परमिट दिया है. देयर वाज ए क्वेश्चन, देयर वर मेनी क्वेश्चंस against this because people thought it will encroach the marine protected areas, but recently government clarified that marine protected areas are excluded from this offshore mining blocks. Now what are these marine protected areas? ठीक है, these are the kind of national parks, है ना, legally designated areas, protected biodiversity and within oceans or seas to protect marine biodiversity, ठीक है. These marine protected areas are declared under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, ठीक है. इसमें इसको हम डिक्लेयर करते हैं, ठीक है. Now this also come under CRZ, Coastal Regulatory Zones, इसके अगेंस्ट में होता है. तो गवर्नमेंट हैज सेड कि नो MPAs आर एक्सक्लूडेड फ्रॉम दिस ऑफशोर माइनिंग ब्लॉक्स, ठीक है. तो दिस इज अबाउट द न्यूज एंड द की कॉन्सेप्ट लाइक मरीन प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू अवर ए केस स्टडी दैट ऑफ वेस्टर्न ट्रागोपैन, ठीक है, वेस्टर्न ट्रागोपैन. नाउ दिस इज एंडेमिक बर्ड, endemic to western Himalayas. This is endemic to western Himalayas and this is declared as vulnerable species. Vulnerable species. Now this species is facing a threat. Why? Because of loss of habitat and infrastructure development, climate change and poaching. इसके वजह से this species or this bird is facing a lot of threats, ठीक है. देयर आर मेनी कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट्स अंडरटुक, है ना, एंड बाय हिमाचल प्रदेश. दिस इज आल्सो द स्टेट बर्ड ऑफ हिमाचल प्रदेश, ठीक है. वेस्टर्न ट्रागोपैन उसको हम बोलते हैं जजुराना, जब किंग ऑफ और क्वीन ऑफ बर्ड्स, ठीक है, उसको हम बोलते हैं. नो दैट इज आल्सो स्टेट बर्ड ऑफ हिमाचल प्रदेश. उसमें एक कैप्टिव ब्रीडिंग प्रोग्राम चलाया गया था रिसेंटली वेयर 60 चिक्स वेयर born bred in captive breeding center, है ना. This gives a ray of hope for conserving and protecting this species, but the question remains of habitat loss, poaching, overgrazing and over tourism in the region. That is the main cause of decline of this population. You can cite this case study in your main answers for supporting the conservation efforts, है ना. And you can also use a quote, species survive in ecosystem not in isolation. कैप्टिव ब्रीडिंग वगैरह नेशनल पार्क्स में या फिर जूज में, है ना, उसको नहीं करना चाहिए. स्पीसीज सर्वाइव इन इकोसिस्टम नॉट इन आइसोलेशन, ठीक है. दिस वाज अबाउट द न्यूज रिगार्डिंग वेस्टर्न ट्रागोपैन. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू अवर लास्ट टॉपिक दैट इज अर्बन फायर डिजास्टर्स. अर्बन फायर डिजास्टर बिकॉज रिसेंटली देयर वाज fire in Goa club and in Mumbai, ठीक है. Now this is not the issue of regulation or regulatory framework or statutory framework. India has a very robust statutory framework. Like we have this National Building Code NBC 2016 which advises with guidelines for fire exit, alarms and sprinklers. NDMA National Disaster Management Authority Guidelines 2012 says it mandates fire audits and mock drills regularly. Thereafter we have fire safety certificate. We should get NOC required before a building can be occupied. After all these we have regular fires and the major cause of these fires is the electrical short circuits, ठीक है, इसके वजह से. Now what is the gap? The gap is in implementation of building codes, implementation of building plans and the mock drills that we have to undertake. Because of that there is rising incident of urban fires which is causing loss of life, loss of infrastructure, lives and loss of property in major cities. Similarly, fire accidents are also increasing in industrial complexes where in chemical industries, like many fire accidents were seen in Andhra Pradesh chemical factories. This is the major issue that we are facing, है ना. And the core challenge is weak enforcement of these existing codes and guidelines by state and urban local bodies. This is all about the important news that can be asked in UPSC, both in prelims as well as mains, where the concepts can be asked like tsunamis and marine protected areas, and you can use few case studies in mains paper. This is all about the environment and ecology current affairs this week. Thank you.